You set me up to bring me down.
Crazy good setup, though,
you
wasn't
did.
it?
I got excited.
Yeah,
I can't wait
have
to
you
see this
ever
thing.
heard of this gentleman called Tom Cruise? I really want to do a building dive from there. I get that shot, I'm out. I'm out of here. I get that shot, I'm walking away. I unintentionally manifest. Stuff comes up out of thin air. Literally will come up out of nowhere. I want to say at least 90% of the work that I do or the roles that I've taken have never really came from an application. It's always come from either knowing the right people, putting myself in the right, point of view, line of sight, have faith, and let God do the rest.
Some people might not know what it means to be a freelancer or do freelance work. What is that?
Yeah, it's doing anything that's not free. Nah, freelance work is when you are... Is that my phone going off?
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Production rule 101. Keep your phone on silent and on do not disturb and not on hard surfaces. And I broke all 4 of those rules. Where do y'all want me to pick up from? Stories that I can share. I had made the joke, I'm about to go shoot with Denzel. And they were like, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, yeah, no, I wish. And I think 48 hours later, it was like, hey, so are you available to shoot with Denzel next week? And I was like,
here with my best friend ever. He taught me how to act. He taught me everything I know about acting. I thank the Academy, but in fact, I need to thank you.
God is a creative. The first thing God did was create. If I'm made in God's image, if you're made in God's image, then automatically you're creative. So don't ever doubt that. The things that come to you will only be with you for a limited time. There's no ownership over just the thought if there's no action behind it. We beat out brands like AMC, we beat out HBO, we beat out Amazon Prime. Starting is a lot of times the toughest part. The cool thing about it is that once you start, then technically it only gets easier from there.
Hey, before we dive into this amazing interview, I have to take a moment to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, On the Set Apparel. They are all about quality gear for creators like us, with clothing designed to keep you comfortable and inspired on set, ensuring that you feel and look your best as you pursue your passion. So use code OTSP20 for 20% off your next order. Let's get back to this amazing interview, and don't forget to use that code and tag us for a shout out. Peace. All right, so big dog.
Okay.
Jay.
All right. Now I'm a Q. This is crazy.
Let's start at the beginning.
What's going on, sir?
Every creative journey starts with a spark.
Mm-hmm.
Something that kicks it all off. What was that moment for you?
Oh, man. I have to give a lot of credit to my pops. Early on, my pops was really into photography. Mm-hmm. And my parents had this cool business, more so like a hustle, where my mom would do some wedding planning on the side, and then my dad would do photos for the weddings. And I remember this one wedding, and I had to probably have been like 12 at the time. My pops has like a real bad shellfish allergy. Mm. And he had something that messed him up. And so I had to take over shooting the rest of the wedding. And now this is me like 12 responsible for somebody's like wedding reception photos.
Monumental.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, yo, this is wild. And I remember doing the photos. I remember this is back when we had like the cameras with the tape in them and everything else. And I remember doing some video with that and being super intrigued on like, yo, how do I edit this? Like, I didn't know about how to, import footage, how to log and capture. I didn't know any of that stuff. So I was like, yo, I was thinking about putting like writing text on a paper and holding it in front of the camera and recording on it just so I could like get a title. Mm. But that moment really kind of solidified, or one of the many moments that solidified like, yo, I want to continue down this role of visual creativity.
Okay. And piggybacking off of that, at what moment during your time at Full Sail, mm-hmm. did you realize that this was but it wasn't a hobby, it was a calling for you?
I'm gonna be honest. I knew even before I went to Full Sail. Mm-hmm. Full Sail is such an expensive and intense school that if you are not sure what you want to do, I wouldn't even recommend that you go to Full Sail because you're going to end up kind of wasting your time a bit, and you're going to get in the way of people that really know what they want to do. Full Sail's curriculum is literally based on real world and real set experience. So every class is 4 hours. Every lecture is 4 hours. Every lab is 4 hours. You can have a class, a lecture, and a lab all in one day. So now you're on campus for 12 hours straight.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really intense. So I knew by the time I was in full set, I had already started my first production company, which was JDM Films. Coming out of high school, I had already started doing freelance work. I already kind of knew what I wanted to do. It was just about developing the technical skills to be able to produce the work at the quality that I wanted to produce it at.
Can you do me a quick favor and define what freelance is? You know,
Gotcha.
some people might not know what it means to be a freelancer or do freelance work. What is that?
Yeah, it's doing anything that's not free. Nah, freelance work is when you are working under contract, when you're taking on a production and you're not necessarily staff or hired full time. You're working on a contractual basis, whether that's for a company or whether that's for an individual. So when I was doing weddings and events and stuff like that, when I was younger, I was still technically freelancing. Even now, when I take on bigger projects, if I come on as a director just for that project, that's still me freelancing.
Okay. So starting out as a PA on Playbook 360 and then eventually becoming a director, how did those early gigs shape your career, your creativity, especially with now?
It taught me the grind and the hustle. Even the way that I ended up on Playbook 360 is kind of like a crazy story. It came from me being in the right place at the right time and just putting myself out there. I happened to be on the campus of Rutgers, having a meeting for a freelance gig that with someone from their athletics department. And while leaving the campus, I saw this van pull up and they just started pulling out Pelican cases. And if you're in production long enough, you can identify what a production crew looks like. It's a bunch of scrappy dudes in cargo pants and caps and vets. And like vets, tape, you know what I mean? And they're just pulling cases out. And I went up to the woman who later found out was the production manager. I was just like, yo, what are y'all doing? Are y'all shooting something? And it's always kind of sketchy when somebody approaches like something like a video crew. So, oh, real hush hush. Oh yeah, we're, trying to not say much. I was like, hey, I'll just tag along as shadow. You don't got to pay me. You don't have to I just want to be around the production crew. And like I said, at that point, I graduated from Full Sail. I knew what a production crew was. I knew what a PA role was. I knew all of these things. But I was getting sporadic work. And she let me shadow. And I was around and I was picking up water bottles and I was helping set them. She couldn't work me too hard legally because I wasn't under contract of anything. But I just made sure I just made myself useful. And from that, that's how I ended up getting called back to do a few episodes of Spike TV's Playbook 360 and a couple other their interstitial shows. But like I said, that didn't come from like a application. It didn't come from a resume. It came from putting myself out there. And I want to say at least 90% of the work that I do or the roles that I've taken have never really came from an application. It's always come from either knowing the right people, putting myself in the right point of view, line of sight, or just trying to hustle and have faith and let God do the work or the rest.
Preach.
Yeah.
Get on somebody. Now, you've been on plenty sets. Can you remember a time where you were on a set, when you first stepped on the set and you realized you were out of your element totally?
I can think of a few times. And I think that's the beauty of it too, right? Because it's like you almost want that a little bit. Because if you're always in your element, then you're not really growing, right? You want to be a little uncomfortable. The first time I stepped on a real fashion set, I was very out of my element. It was for a brand that I won't name with photographers that I won't name because the shoot didn't go great. But they, it was a bigger role than I realized. I was responsible for all the video production stuff, and they were specific that they just wanted it shot with a red and they wanted a gimbal. And I was like, all right, cool. I didn't own a red nor know how to really operate a red at the time. And I wasn't that proficient with the gimbal at the time either. I was still working at a rental house in the city. Shout out to Adorama. And so I didn't have the skill set, but I knew I could hire out the skill set as a production company owner. And when I stepped on that set, it was just a different pace, different vernacular. They were there mainly for photos. We were stepping on to do video stuff, but they expected all this stuff to look like a commercial. They wanted it to be perfect. And unfortunately, due to my hiring, the person I brought on just overpromised and underdelivered, which led to also the first time in production that I really thought about quitting. Like, I was ready to walk away and say, yo, I'm never doing this again. Because it was that bad. It was a bad day.
Wow.
But that, once again, that discomfort, I was able to learn from. Like, I learned to make sure that in some way I'm super involved in at least a little bit of everything that's going on my productions, that I'm not just leaving anything to chance or just taking a word of somebody saying, hey, I know how to do this. I will definitely check a reel now. I will, check references. I'll do all of the above. Just to make sure that we all walk away with something that we're proud of and not wasting anyone's time.
Nice. Whew. You said over advertised and under.
Yeah, he overpromised and underdelivered.
Yeah. Underdelivered.
Which I always try to do the exact opposite of.
He taught you what not to do.
Yeah, he taught me what not to do. Yeah, that was getting cursed out in another language is not a good day, especially when your day started at 4 a.m. Not a good day.
Okay. Wow. Every journey also has what people call a breakthrough moment.
For sure.
What do you feel was your breakthrough moment that opened doors for you in your career?
Great question. There's a few moments that I can think of. Just because I've seen some familiar faces recently, I will say that the thing that came to mind first would be the HBCU virtual homecoming that I was able to do with Support Black Colleges, the HBCU Apparel brand. And we did that during the pandemic in 2020. And that was just a different experience because it tested all of my knowledge up to that point. And it was a lot of betting on myself and betting on the team of people that I knew could accomplish something, but we all kind of had to stretch ourselves to make it happen. But looking back, even today, 5 years later, there's plenty of times where I pull on that experience as like, all right, I know I can do this because I did that.
Was that, how did that come together? Do you think that was hustle or timing, or was it both?
I think it's a culmination of both. I think it's, culmination of hustle, timing, and grace. The way that it initially was brought to me was just through, once again, the grapevine, just knowing someone that knows someone that knows someone, literally. And it worked out where I was able to bring on a team that was really dope. And I appreciate them because they were able to trust my leadership to kind of bring all the pieces together, and we all executed at a great level. So yeah, I think it's a combination of like the hustle of learning and putting ourselves out there to be able to take something like that on, as well as the like grace of like, all right, once again that risk, and we're going to step out on the ledge and hope that everything happens.
Cool. So in 2016, you took a leap and started your own company. Right? Live to Create.
Yep.
At what point did you decide that it was time to create your own? Like, what made you say, "No, I gotta create my own"?
Yeah, I think because I started back in like high school. The ownership side of it was always super important. I could see how just the video business and just being a creative, that was obviously a big part of it, but that wasn't enough for me. Like I wanted the ownership of content. I wanted to be able to produce stuff, give opportunities to other people so that way they can produce stuff too. And I wanted, I guess with the background of my mother being in marketing, I understood how important branding was. So L2C became a culmination of all the different avenues that I wanted to pursue, whether it was photography, whether it was video production, whether it was live events. It was something that was a home that I could always go back to and have that ownership portion no matter where I was working.
That's great. And your company worked with some pretty big names. Can you think of one that sticks out in particular?
You know, we've worked with a few dope brands. It's hard to choose one because I'm you know, it's almost like every project's a little bit of a different child.
Okay.
We did some cool stuff with Netflix. We've done some cool stuff with Diageo. We've done some cool stuff with I1. And through them, we worked with Fox and Lexus and a couple of other brands. But yeah, it's hard to choose just one that stands out.
And that project got you nominated for was the Best in Education and Best Digital Pivot at the Shorty Awards. Then you go on to win a Webby.
Yeah.
Right? How did that moment shape the future for you?
As a creative, I think we all on some degree are always looking for a level of validation. That's why we have all these different awards. That's why we got Oscars, Tonys, Webbies, Shorties, all the E's. There's
all
always
the E's.
See, thank you. I got one.
All the E's.
There's always some level of validation that we're looking for because we want to make sure that what we're creating is understood and that the work that we're pouring into it is received in the way that we intended it to. And so those awards, the Shorties, the Webbies, coming off of that project that was truly a labor of love, it was extremely gratifying. It was a little bit of everything, and not just to be able to say like, hey, I'm an award winner, or hey, I'm a Webby winner, like, cool. But it was beyond me. It was, to be honest, I had won Webbies and Shorties and stuff like that before through the work that I did with Paramount and Viacom and BET and stuff. Okay. This is the first time I won one under my production company, L2C Studios. And so that just gave me that, once again, that gratifying moment of like, okay, we're doing something and the work that we're putting out is real. Like, we didn't just win, we beat out brands like AMC, we beat out HBO, we beat out Amazon Prime, we beat out really high quality brands that were working with a lot more budget at a much larger team than we were. So like I said a little bit earlier, that's one of those moments that I was able to have where I can pull on that any other time now in the future, where I feel like I'm a little shaky walking in, or a little nervous, or a little uncomfortable, because that's how I felt walking into that set. And it came out beautiful on the other side.
Everybody loves a great behind the scenes story. So let's pull back the curtain, man. Let's talk about, no, you said we don't have to. That's why you're here. Let's talk about First Love. This was, I done struck a chord. Yeah. This is the first time you wore all the hats, like director, cinematographer, producer, all the things. How was that?
I think what First Love taught me, if I'm going back to it now, we're going back a good 15 years now. First Love taught me how important it is to be prepared. I remember taking, like, when it was approved and we knew we were going to do this project, and I kind of started writing stuff out and writing a loose script, and I just was going into it like, yeah, we'll just figure it out. And some of it came together and some of it did not. And by not being fully prepared, you can waste your time, you can waste your talent's time, you can waste production's time. And it can, on the other side of it, it may not come the way that you envisioned. And so I learned on that how important it is to walk into productions prepared, and you still want to have a level of liquidity to be able to be flexible in the moment and allow ideas and the impact of freshness of when you're in those, that creative space to flow. But you also, like I said, don't want to just be out there making it up as you go along. Right. Yeah.
You work with some massive names like MTV Live, VMAs, The Come Up, Finding BET, Netflix TV series. What was that? X Factor, right?
Yeah, that was a digital promo for a couple of series that came out. But yeah.
Okay. What do you have any behind the scenes story of any of those that you can share?
one I normally tell is that one that I shared earlier about being on that fashion set, because I really left feeling like I was going to quit video production. And I was hired by a friend of mine, Clifton Prescott, who was an amazing photographer. At that point, he was interning for the photography company, and we both left that set, just walked around Times Square looking at billboards and being like, yo, this is gonna this is it. Like, we're never going to get up here. We're never going to make work. Like, we're looking at the work in the billboards and we're just like, this is the type of stuff I want to make. And this is the type of stuff this project could have been, and we'll never make it here. And that annoyance then kind of sparked like, well, you know what? Hold on. I think hearing him agree and then him hearing me say the same thing, we both were kind of like, wait, no. Nah, bump that. We're going to get a billboard. Like, we're going to get our work up here. We're going to see our stuff. And I want to say that was in 2016. And within 2 years, I want to say later, we had the billboard for Finding in Times Square. And it was kind of that full circle moment for me where I was like, I remember when I was here about to quit video production, and now I'm seeing my work in the same place that I was inspired to keep going. But yeah, as I continue to think, I'm sure I'll come up with some other stories of things that have happened on some of these sets. It's always a wild time on set.
All right, so let's talk about a day in the life. Now, from directing to editing to producing, you wore a lot of hats. You wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
You know, you're still doing the things. I want to know, well, we would like to know, the viewers would like to know, what is your typical day like? Let's say at Paramount versus L2C.
My role at Paramount is that it changes so much. But I'm really a Swiss Army knife within the department I work in there, which is MPG, the multi-platform group. This is also as of today. Paramount is a very changing and evolving company, so who knows where I'll be by the time that this comes out. Right. But my roles fluctuate a lot. One day I'm directing, one day I'm DPing, one day I can be doing photography. It could be a little bit anything. I will give you this week that I just did as a good case study. My week consisted of Monday DPing and directing a promo shoot with Tyler Perry for a BET commercial that's going to be coming out during the BET Awards for a new show that he's promoting. Followed leaving that set to then go to another studio that was at the Paramount office to pre-light to DP a shoot with Cynthia Erivo for MTV. To then Tuesday finish out that shoot with Cynthia, who was amazing. While also then prepping for a shoot that was another shoot that was Wednesday. That was an internal shoot for BET. That followed by Thursday, directing a press junket for the Tony Awards for CBS. So that was like a 5 a.m. call time. That's getting up early, looking over everything we need, being really familiar with the creative. And then seeing my team through to the end to make sure we got everything that we need visually, as well as pulling what we need out of this talent. A pressure junket, we're running through like 10, 12 different talent and need to make sure the energy feels fresh, but they've also been talking to a bunch of other junkets as well. So getting that, and that'll be for marketing materials, for commercials, for the Tony Awards, that'll be on CBS. And my week ended Friday directing Tyler for the Kids' Choice Awards for Nickelodeon.
Nice.
And that was some other promos and liners. So yeah, it fluctuates a lot. The days that I'm a DP, I'm a lot more technical. I'm looking at the lighting. I'm looking at what cameras. I'm running through stuff nonstop in my head. Right. I normally have to show up on set a bit earlier just to make sure everything is situated. As a director, I'm really focused on both the creative and the client side. Just that balance of like, all right, cool. I know what y'all want to walk away with. If we're dealing with talent, I want to make sure talent is extremely comfortable, and kind of being the bridge between those two worlds to make sure everybody leaves set happy. Even the crew, production, all of that. So yeah, it's a little Swiss Army knife, a little bit of juggling, a few different roles, but I love it. Okay.
Are you able to pick a favorite part of being on set, whether it's producing or the shooting or directing, or is it all the things that?
It's I love directing. Directing is cool because I get to really take ownership over a production. And I love being able to like have an idea in my head and be able to see it come to life. Or just being able to pull something out of somebody. Like, all right, cool. I know this is what you gave on your first take, but by the time we get to the third take, it's like there. Like, I love that. But the thing I love about DPing is, once again, like, I'm really visually driven. And so being able to just play with light. And I know that sounds so pretentious and such like a DP, but like really watching how light falls, being able to shape it, being able to like make imagery that I feel like is really beautiful. That just gets me excited. And so, and not just that, but also as a DP, I find that I have a little bit more control over the technical crew. As a director, I don't want to step on my DP's toes, so I let my DP, hire his cam ops, hire his gaffer, hire the grips, hire the ACs. And so those are all roles that I may not know who's behind that role, when I show up on set. But as a DP, I get to hire those roles. And I get to make sure that it's not just a set where everything will get done, but that the vibe will be right while there. And that opportunities are being given to people that may not receive those opportunities from other people. Make sure that the set is a reflection of myself, of the talent we're shooting, of equality, both, race-wise, gender-wise, all of the above. I'm notorious for having really diverse sets, and I love that I have a track record like that.
Nice. And how do you balance passion projects versus, well, not versus, but how do you balance passion projects with brand or broadcast work?
I'm still working on that, to be honest. I wish I had more passion projects under my belt that I could point to. And so I'm still finding that balance, to be real. There's a lot that I have that I want to do that costs a lot of money. And I just don't have always the time to go fundraising for it. But I look forward to being in a place where my 9 to 5 and my day job and doing these projects for all these other brands can better fund the things that I want to do for me and the art I want to put out.
Nice. Do you feel that you are, now you talked about being prepared?
Yeah.
Right? Really being prepared. But in that, do you find yourself, do you consider yourself a planner or a kind of go with the flow type of director?
I'm both. My pastor has this phrase, preparation is the key to life. And I agree with that. Like, you do need to be prepared. But I think that in being prepared, it allows you to be so much better at being able to pivot. And I think that's one of my superpowers, if I can be as bold to say that, is being really good at pivoting and being really good at like reading a room, reading a situation, and coming up with a solution in the moment that best serves what we need to get done, and best serves everybody in the room. And so a lot of that comes with preparation. I used to hate it. I used to feel like it puts you in a box, but it really allows you to expand the box a bit. So I go in with a plan, knowing that plan will change, but I know what the backbone and the root of the day is. So that way, as I pivot, cool, I know what I need to come back to. So yeah, that preparation is really important.
All right, so it's time for what we call here the staple question. And what that means is each guest that sits in that chair gets asked this question. Are you ready for that question?
No.
No.
What's the next one?
I'm going to ask you anyway.
Got it. Okay.
That's why it's called the staple question.
Gotcha. It holds us together.
Yes, it's fastened
yeah,
together. Yeah. What one word?
Oh, no, I hate these.
What one word captures being on set for you, and why?
This is so frustrating because I literally just asked a bunch of Tony Award or Tony nominees like a question similar to this, and they all looked at me like, what do you expect me to answer? And I'm like, say magic, say whatever. And now on the flip side, I get it because this is, this question is so good, but it's also so annoying.
Welcome to On the Set Podcast.
Yeah, On the Set Podcast, coming to a podcast outlet near you. what word would I use that would best encapsulate the feeling of being on set? Is that the question? That best sums it up?
Yes.
Who gave the best answer so far?
You, as soon as you spit it out.
Got you.
Does that help?
I love you. He's
You're
such
welcome.
a good guy. Yeah.
My man.
The word that best encapsulates like the experience on set, I think, would be collaboration. Like, no matter what role you're in, you need a team, like, to be able to really bring the best work you can to life. Like, I'm good at a few roles. I've been in a few roles. I've directed, I've produced, I've edited, I've cam-opped, I've done everything from weddings at 12 to, editing promos and whatever. However, when you're trying to do all those things at once, you'll never be the best version of yourself in any of those roles. And I'm even mindful of that when I'm both double dutying as a director DP. I love it. I love being able to kind of put my mark and my stamp on both of those roles. However, I know that when I'm doing that, I need a super strong AC. I need a really strong cam op, because there's going to be some things that may fall in the gap as I'm working on the other side of it. And so collaboration is so important because it allows you to operate in your fullest. You're able to lean on a team, and you're able to create in a way that goes beyond just you. You know what I mean? You want to be able to put more than just yourself in something. And yeah, that's what I want to walk away with every time I'm on set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Collaboration
would
like
be
it.
my
I love
word.
it. All right. Collaboration.
Yeah.
The word for today is collaboration.
Collaboration.
So, so we talked about things that you've done in the past. Can you tell us about something that you're working on now, or do we have to sign an NDA or something for that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I think I can tell you what's going on in my world right now. And
Yes, please.
Which will most likely be passed by the time that this comes out. But Mission Impossible, it will be coming out soon. No, I didn't work on the film. However, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know that was a crazy good setup, though.
You
wasn't
did.
it?
I got excited.
Yeah,
I can't wait
have
to
you
see this
ever
thing.
heard of this gentleman called Tom Cruise? But what I will be doing is being the DP for the premiere that's in New York and Lincoln Center. So that's going to be really cool. It's going to be a collaborative process. It's me and a couple other folks on the team.
Do you need someone to shadow? Because I can shadow.
Listen,
you don't have to pay me or put me under contract.
We
I
need
can
a
shadow.
few folks because we have 12 cameras altogether. Like I said, it'll be in Lincoln Center or Lincoln Square, and so we'll be over the fountain. We're doing a red carpet all around it. We're doing 2 drones, a techno jib, a steady cam. There's some other, folks from my team that are working really hard on it. So that's the thing that I'm really excited about now. That's what my next week looks like.
Okay.
And as well as working with Logo again. I've done a lot of stuff with Logo. Logo is under MTV. It's Paramount and MTV's like LGBTQ focused brand.
Okay.
And so we've done a lot of stuff with me directing and DPing for a brand or for a series called Legends, as well as Spill. Spill is like one of my favorite series because it really got to create a look somewhat from scratch and build a set and make it look like a bar and put colors in it, and it's just dope. I love it. But Legend is coming up, and that is another 5-camera roundtable shoot that we're doing in a theater, and we're doing photos as well. Logo Legend.
Okay.
Yeah, Logo Legend. Sorry. And yeah, I'm excited to be working on both of those at the same time. It's going to be a very crazy week because the Mission Impossible premiere day is on Sunday, and the Logo Legend pre-light is on Sunday.
Ooh.
And the Logo Legend then shoots on Monday. So it's going to be a lot of running around New York to both locations, but it'll be fun.
Nice. Thanks for that exclusive that will air after all these things happen.
After all of that stuff is out. And then MTV Live is coming up too. Again, we just wrapped out at MTV Live. That one is also for, will be for Queer Music Week. And we're doing another one for the VMAs, and that'll be dope as well. And we do like take over the roof of the Paramount building in LA. We have artists come, they do 2 songs, we do a live audience, and that we do like a jib, we do the whole stage build. That one is fun because we get to like really make some dope stuff and see some dope performances. And I don't have a music background. If I did, if I was a better talented in that area, probably wouldn't even be doing video. But I have a love for music. And so being able to collaborate and find that middle ground between like video and music is always a fun time for me.
Okay. That sounds like very exciting.
Thank you. I'm excited about it. I perked up.
Yeah, you did.
A little glow in my eyes.
Bit.
Yeah,
like,
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's right there. That's
it.
Called catch light, ladies and gentlemen.
School them.
Yeah, you know.
Are there any dream collaborations? That's your word. Any dream collaborations coming down the pipeline?
None yet. But stuff comes up for me really weird and random. I unintentionally manifest, and just based off of the job that I have, it's really the double-edged sword is that stuff comes up out of thin air. Literally will come up out of nowhere. I shot with Morris Chestnut towards the end of last year, and I didn't know I was going to be shooting with him on Monday until the Thursday or Friday beforehand. And it's just like, cool, all right. I guess I'm going to go home and start packing for a flight to LA like tomorrow morning. Stuff comes up out of nowhere. I think the most, the best example of that would be Denzel Washington.
Who's that?
Oh, he's this one actor. You may have seen some of his things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll look him up. You said IMDb? I can find him?
IMDb.
Okay.
I think he has some stuff on YouTube.
Okay. All right.
Denzel was a project, and it wasn't a big project. It was literally, once again, doing a lot of like promo liner stuff. But I had made the joke maybe a week or two prior, where somebody asked me, like, what am I working on next? And I was like, oh, I'm about to go shoot with Denzel. And they were like, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, yeah, no, I wish. And I think 48 hours later, It was like, hey, so are you available to shoot with Denzel next week? And I was like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
And it was real. And I was able to, lightly direct Denzel through some stuff, which he is a pleasure to work with, and he's a personality, which is cool. And we ended off the shoot rapping and him making jokes because of the fact that I was trying to direct him, and he very much so made it clear, like, hey, all my performances are great, so don't. You don't have to. We're not doing one for safety. But he was awesome. He was such a pleasure. So yeah, I don't know what dream collaborations are coming down the pipeline, but I'm excited for him. I mean, maybe there's a Ryan Coogler thing. He's having a moment that's well deserved. Who knows? Things come out of nowhere.
All right, so you're a big tech guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's geek out a little bit.
Let's do it.
What's in the toolkit, man? Let's tell us.
Man,
in the bag. What's in there? What you got?
It changes per shoot. Give me either a type of shoot or my roll on it, and I'll tell you what's in my bag. Yeah.
A type of shoot.
Yeah. Who's on the
promo shoot?
Promo shoot. Cool. What's my role?
Your role is director.
Easy. iPad.
Okay.
iPad, pen, clipboard. That's all I need. Which is why I love it. Yo, my back feels so much better when I'm directing. What?
Okay.
It feels so weird to be able to say, cut, cool, hey guys, that was a beautiful, beautiful day. You guys did amazing. And then leave? What? I don't gotta pack no gear?
Okay.
Switch it
DP?
up. DP, much different. Much different. I have in my kit will be a Sekonic light meter. I will probably also have a laser distance finder.
What is the? You had me at Seconic
light meter. Got you. So
Okay,
a
what
lot
is
of these things are. My DP kit is very similar to kind of like an AC kit or an assistant camera kit, and that's how it happens for a lot of us, where we come up through these roles and our kit just kind of keeps expanding, and we keep it around, right? So it's Seconic light meter, and you can use any light meter. Just Seconic is one of the more popular brands.
Okay.
But a light meter is what you're using to measure this light, right? So you would dial in what your settings are on your camera, and then you would measure the light. I've been doing this long enough where, like, I can kind of look around and kind of see like what certain lights are at. Like, I know my key's coming from here. I know this is doing a little bit more fill. I know that if we're shooting on Black Magics right now, that the native ISO on those is what, 800, I think, somewhere around there. So it's like you can start to measure out and figure out what your apertures and what your stops are. But that reads it for you, which is pivotal in order to keep a consistent look throughout a shoot. As you're going from,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
has
that
a
they
little
hold
white ball on it.
Yeah, the white ball. Yep,
Okay.
that lets you know the incandescent, and then you can also spot with it as well. So you can kind of look through it on certain ones as well. So I'll try to always have that. The distance finder for the laser, that just lets you know how far something is, so you can double check your focus. I normally keep a camera, just a small stills camera on me. Which at this point, my go-to is the Fuji X100 VI. I will also keep my DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And my newest pickup that I do really love is my Ray-Ban Metas. Like, I love just to be able to get a couple of quick shots with those on the glasses. It makes for really cool like BTS and like POV shots. I used that while I was at Dreamville Festival.
Okay.
And it was dope. So yeah, those are some of the things I keep in my bag.
Okay, great. All right. So do you lean to certain types of lenses for, storytelling and mood?
Yeah, I think it depends on the shoot. Those are the things in my bag, but in terms of what, it will be on set, at this point I'm an Arri guy. I don't own one, but that's what I normally try to bring on the set if I can, if the production can afford it. So I bounce between an Arri Mini up to an LF, and then most recently I've been using the Arri 35s a lot. When I did the Gladiator red carpet premiere, which we live streamed for Paramount in LA, we literally took over Hollywood Boulevard, and we had a jib, we had drones and stuff for that as well, and we had all Arri 35s that were then converted into live mode to then come into a truck, and then we were able to switch it live, which was like one of the earlier editions or renditions of that. And we worked with Able Cine and even kind of like collaborated with Arri a little bit to kind of make that happen. But yeah, I love a good Arri camera. I love a good signature prime. I love a good signature zoom. I love a good ingenue lens. I can talk about this all day.
All right, cool. We'll bring it back for a second interview. So with tech evolving as fast as it does, how do you stay rooted in cinematic storytelling without letting the gear take over, the vision?
Yo, it's tough for me because I'm such a techie. Like, I love to try out a new technology if it's going to give me an edge, right? And I think that's really what you should be using technology for anyway. It's really just trying to get an edge. Camera tech specifically has come so far over the last, we can go as short as 5 years, but really expanded out to like 10, 12 years. Like, a camera 10 years ago will be almost double the price for half the quality as something coming out today. But now we've gotten to a point where it's like literally a game of centimeters. Like, it's no longer like, you're not going to pick up a 12K TV tomorrow. So do you really need to be shooting 12K? You're not going to pick up a 6K TV most likely tomorrow. Cable isn't even really fully broadcasting in 4K yet. So it really comes down to your use cases with things as this technology is going beyond the point of, there's a term, it's something, blah, blah, blah returns. But it's like you're not even seeing the differences really, right? So bringing that back to the creativity of it all, I think that, yeah, it's important to have an edge, but you also want to make sure that the technology is supporting your story, not the other way around, right? Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that whatever tool that you're using it as such, as a tool. One of my earlier shoots that I did through L2C Studios with Rutgers University, and I got brought on to capture some stuff for their athletics department. Mm-hmm. I was working at Adorama Rental at the time, and the beautiful thing about working there is they paid like crap, but they gave me a really good discount on gear. And that was the whole reason I worked there, because they gave me like, at that time, they gave me like 75% off of a rental. The only caveat was you needed to have insurance to cover the rental. So a lot of these folks that were working there, they were like, I'm not about to pay for insurance, like, to get all this stuff. Like, if I'm not about to get a $100,000 policy so I can take out this Arri. Right. I will take that. I would get it for a year. I found a good one insurance company that gave me a nice little student discount because I still have my Full Sail ID. Man, I was renting stuff out of there left and right. To the point where they changed the policies. I'm sorry for everyone that worked at Adorama Rental after me. Your fault. It is my fault, and I'd do it again. What I did though, what I learned this lesson for me is while I was doing the shoot for Rutgers, I remember being on the sideline with it was like an Arri camera with an ingenue lens with a servo zoom on it. And it was like big, bulky on like a monopod. It was this massive thing. The stuff I was doing was going to end up on somebody's Instagram 9 times out of 10. Like, there was no need for all of this stuff, but I was like, I want to have the best gear because that automatically means I'm going to have the best quality. Mm-hmm. And those two don't always go hand in hand. It's not about just having the most expensive or whatever gear. It's about what's going to allow you to capture the best story. And what I realized is that what I got from that shoot was really pale in comparison to the stuff that I would shoot with just my FS7 and a good old Sigma art lens. And that was probably 1/8 of the price in terms of my kit, but it was at least 2, 3, 4 times better in terms of the quality I was able to capture with it.
Okay. You have seen the industry from the inside.
Yeah.
You've seen the shifts, the platforms, the budget, the attention spans of people. What do you think has changed? What do you think has changed with storytelling today?
What has changed in storytelling since 2011? I would say there's so many tools out there, right? Especially with the advance of AI and, I'll be honest, I utilize AI in some of the things that I do. I don't utilize it in a visual type of way, but I do utilize it in terms of like my production management, in terms of my emails, in terms of even as an AP, as an associate producer, like I will upload a transcript to AI from an interview that I recorded. And as I'm editing or as my editor is editing and I'm just like, hey, I feel like somewhere in there, they mentioned something about this. And I will ask AI, hey, where in this interview did they mention something about their red car? And it will read through the transcript and find, oh, well, it wasn't a red car, it was a maroon car. But they did say this right around the 15-minute and 43-second mark. Wow. And I can give that to my editor. And whereas just doing a search and find on like a regular transcript, it's not going to give you that type of context to find stuff. And that makes me a better creative, right? Mm-hmm. And allows me to tell the story better. Recently, back towards the end of last year, I was honored enough to be one of the last people, if not the last, still have to confirm, but one of the last people to interview Nikki Giovanni before she passed. Oh, wow. And with knowing the weight of that and knowing like, hey, like this is a story where I have to give it all the truth and all the, tell it right. I had to like utilize every tool that I had. And so, yeah, some of that storytelling, even in terms of finding the right moments, like, yeah, that transcript was in AI and we were like fine tuning to tell the story of like, cool, this is what she said. Let's look up, historical, of everything else that in terms of references. And let's work this through so that way we're not just accurate, but we're honest. And so, yeah, I think that there's a lot more tools out there that can make you better.
Well said. Well said. What excites you? What excites you about, or are there things that excite you about the direction that visual storytelling is going today?
There's a lot. I mean, like I said, I think the AI thing is really exciting and terrifying, but exciting. I think the barrier to entry is now so low that there's no excuse for anyone not to be creating. I see stuff that's out now that are by kids in high school and, you know, kids in college. I'm just like, yo, I remember it would have took me days and weeks of, you know, whatever to try to figure this out. And they're just doing it like that. That's exciting to me. Like just being able to see voices, be able to tell stories where it was really limited for a long time of who was able to tell the story because it was all based upon who had access to technology and who had access to the tools, which was also based upon who had access to the funds. And that group was real small. And so you saw a lot of stories that started to look and sound the same because it was the same people telling or funding them. Now, that technology, that barrier to entry, like I mentioned, is so small that anyone can tell their story in a way where if you have a decent story, you can then, if you have a decent story, like you can get the quality. Like it's not going to cost you a crazy amount of money to tell the story you want.
Do you still feel that there's a space for slow, intentional, you know, cinematography in a fast content era?
Absolutely.
In this fast content era?
Yeah, I think the case study for that would be A24. Like they don't care what's popular. They're like, we're gonna make these cine verte films and we're gonna do it for not as much budget as the major film studios are doing it for, but we're gonna tell a story and we're gonna take our time. We're gonna make The Brutalist and put an intermission in the middle of the film and have you sit there for, you know, that film was darn near, if not more than 3 hours. But they're gonna tell their truth. Alex, I'm sorry again. They're gonna tell their truth, and I think that there's still a space for those that want to consume art that way. Like, yeah, if you want just your quick hits, I want my quick hits sometimes. Yeah, let me just go on Instagram, let me go on YouTube Shorts, let me go on whatever. Cool, but we're seeing a big resurgence of folks that want the slow, the beautiful, beautifully composed, the beautifully lit storytelling and shots that keep us engaged. That's the big reason you see such a big gap between the big difference between YouTube Shorts and YouTube long form. Like at one point, a YouTube video on average would be about 5 minutes long. Now, YouTube is pushing you to make stuff 10, 15 minutes long because they realize people, yes, are looking at stuff on their phone, but now people are watching YouTube on their TVs even more. So cool, we'll give you the short stuff that you can look on your phone, but then when you're ready to consume content while you're doing whatever, put it up on your television and make that 10, 15 minutes. Now there's just such a bigger gap where it's either do it quick or take your time. And those YouTube videos are cinematic. They be putting edits. I try to do mine and I'm like, I don't got the time to sit here. You're making storyboards for your YouTube videos and you can tell the effort that goes into it because it looks like quality.
Right. How do you maintain authenticity with branded or commercial projects?
I think some of that comes from the collaboration in the community again. I try to keep a lot of my folks that work with me in rotation a bit because they've seen the journey, right? They worked with me when I didn't have any budget for anything, and they worked with me when I was able to kind of run it up and get some of the gear I wanted to. And so they that helps no matter what project I'm on. They keep me honest. I think also being real with yourself in a way where it's like being able to check yourself as a creative is important. Like the same way I keep throwing shade at First Love, is because I know what that looks like, and I know what I want it to look like, and I know what I can do now, and I know where now I have a bar, right? And so as a creative, you have to be honest about what was both really good or not really good. And so there's honesty in that. And I think that honesty can show through no matter what you're working on, whether that's branded content, whether it's commercial, whether it's indie, whether it's for you, whether it's for Lexus, Netflix, or whoever else. You have to always be honest.
All right, man. Here on the Set podcast, we love to teach, to drop gems, to help the up and coming creatives.
Yeah.
So I want you to look right into the camera, right? Right over there. And I want you to tell the creatives something that you wish someone would have told you on your way up or when you were first starting.
Everyone says this, but it's really true. Creating is the starting point. And if you don't start creating, then you're never going to create. And I know that sounds real generic and real like duh, but a lot of times the focus gets upon the what if, and we never actually do the thing, right? Doing the thing is more important than whether or not it succeeds or fails. You have to just do the thing. I think that's the one thing that has really pushed me that I wish I heard a little bit more. Another thing that I picked up along the way that was a real eye-opening moment for me was when I realized that, like, obviously I'm faith-based. I came up in church. I believe that a lot of the success that I have is really predicated upon the relationship that I have with Christ. And I learned that, like, when I realized that God is a creative, that changed almost everything for me. When I realized that, like, the very first thing, sorry to make this a whole different,
go ahead.
When I realized the very first thing when you open your Bible that is told about is that the first thing God did was create, like, before anything else. And if I'm made in God's image, if you're made in God's image, then automatically you're a creative. Whether you're in a visual space, whether you're in a marketing space, whether you're in an education space, whether you're, in a science space, whatever, you're creative. So don't ever doubt that. Always lean into that, because there's something that's in you that's both for you and to be shared with everyone else. So don't limit that, and don't take away from somebody else because you're holding it just inside. What's another one? The one thing that keeps me up at night on the low is that the things that come to you will only be with you for a limited time. And what I mean by that is there's been so many things where I've seen it be done where I'm like, I had that idea like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Oh, I should have did that. I feel like God, the universe, whatever way you want to put it, I'm going to say God every time, will bring things to you, and it's your responsibility to create, to act on it, but it's not owned by you until you do. There's no ownership over just the thought if there's no action behind it. And so don't be mad when that same idea moves on to somebody else, or when it's presented to somebody else, or somebody acted upon the thing that you had first, because it was yours to move upon in the first place. So go ahead.
Let's make it more specific to the DPs coming up.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it's more important for them to focus on the gear, the story, or studying from the masters?
It's the craft. It's the craft 1,000%. There's always going to be new gear. There's always going to be a new light. I remember when these apertures first came out, everybody was like, these are the cheap lights. And now I see these lights on, $1 million productions. You know what I mean? Like the toolkit is always going to change, as it should. If you give a craftsman a hammer, whether it's a, whatever brand it is, they're going to know how to make something out of it. And so learning the craft is the biggest part, what every DP should focus on, because that's what's going to set you apart. Looking at the way light falls, looking at the quality of light, looking at the quality of lenses, how to tell a visual that matches the story you're trying to present. All of those things can be done with no matter you're shooting on an Arri, Alexa, whatever, or an iPhone, but not an Android. You can never tell a good story on an Android. That's just where the bar stops. There's limits to these things.
Somebody in here caught it straight.
I mean,
Might be a couple people.
I can only tell stories with with blue bubbles. I don't know what a green bubble is. The best stories are tell through a droid.
The best stories are told through a droid. All right, so. After all is said and done, all the stories that we've talked about, the many hats that you've worn, there are creatives that are trying to start.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't started yet. Here they started, but they want to start. Give them the best advice you can on starting, what they want to do. What do you want to leave with them? How can these creatives start?
Starting is a lot of times the toughest part. There's kind of a double edge with that too, right? But it's the cool thing about it is that once you start, then technically it only gets easier from there. As those that are trying to start in the industry, if you're trying to be a DP, if you're trying to be a director, I think once again creating is a big part of that. Create, whether it's let me take it back. There's a philosophy or a thought or whatever, how you want to describe it, about like your 10,000 hours. I'm sure you've heard of this, right?
Yes.
Like you want to put $10,000 into your whatever craft it is, doing something before you feel really proficient or before you can call yourself an expert in the matter, right? I think it's so early to start your 10,000 hours as soon as you can. I was lucky enough where I started my 10,000 hours when I was 12. So by the time I was in college, like I was already really proficient in the things that I was doing, and now it's just about learning whatever was coming out now. Also, big shout out to Mr. Penix, Franklin High School, because I was learning how to cut and edit back then too. However, starting is so important because that's when your timer starts. Getting those hours in, learning, creating whatever. I wouldn't have been able to do my HBCU homecoming or, get the Webby or the Shorties or whatever, all of that crap. I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I didn't make the first loves, if I didn't make the voids that I make in high school, if I didn't shoot what was probably a really trash wedding reception video for that poor couple that I did when I was 12. Because how do you even get angles from that low? But
from that low,
like, what are you shooting?
How tall was your dad?
Yeah, he's like 6'2", and I'm the short one. Anyway,
okay.
So, and I'm 6'1" for the internet. I'm not that short, but it's about putting the work in early on. Get with your friends, shoot something on your phone. You can find scripts online. There's so many ways and things to create. Just start. And then as you start, continue to build your community, continue to learn, go on YouTube University, because there's a million things to learn on there. I'm on YouTube probably a good hour to 2 hours a week if I have the time, just learning, just finding new techniques, just trying to stay sharp. And once you get your 10,000 hours in, you'll feel way more confident in anything that you want to pursue in that endeavor.
Man, that's it.
That's it.
That's it, man. We have wrapped another dope episode of On the Set podcast. Major love to our guest, Jarred McGriff, for taking us inside the work and for not only sharing your wins, but the weight behind them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
For reminding us that storytelling isn't just about capturing images. It's about honoring the legacy, holding space, and speaking truth through visuals.
Yeah.
Man, that was dope.
Thank you, man.
Now, before we get out of here,
Yeah.
can you please tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, man. What's up, y'all? I'm Jarred McGriff. You can find me a couple of places. I'm on Instagram at jarred.mcgriff. I'm on Twitter, but don't find me there. I'm on Threads. That's the same. Hit up my LinkedIn. Hit up my YouTube. Jarred McGriff. I'm Jarred McGriff pretty much everywhere. Hit my TikTok. You know what I mean? It gets crazy over there. It's a good time.
Make sure they spell it right. Tell them how to spell it.
Jarred with 2 R's because my parents were, wanted to shake it up a little bit. That's JARRED.McGriff. It'll be down there below somewhere.
And if you want to follow me, I am Steven Strickland on Instagram. That's it. I am Steven Strickland. And on Facebook, Strictly Talent 1. Remember, every great filmmaker, visionary, creative, writer, they started somewhere. All right? So keep writing, keep creating, keep pushing, and keep telling the stories that matter. I'm your host, Steven Strickland. As always, remember, do what you love, and love what you do, and we'll see you on the set.
Woo! That was so good. That was so good.